ProWrestlingTees.com/616entertainment is the home of all official 616 Entertainment merchandise. Pick up a shirt, you'll be glad you did. This video is also brought to you in part by the Patreon producers, without whom content like this would not be possible. Everybody knows who Superman is. You see the symbol on the t-shirts of strangers in public. You see actors playing the character in big-budget Hollywood movies. You see him in video games. You read his stories in comic books. But even though everybody has an idea of who or what Superman is, there are still very few out there who truly get it. And that's not me speaking as an elitist or anything. I'm saying that most people will openly admit, I don't really get what's so special about Superman. I can't tell you how to feel or what to believe, but I can tell you what it looks like from my perspective. Let me tell you what Superman means to me. Hey Dan, surprise! Welcome to a brand new series here on youtube.com/616entertainment called Superman for Everyone. If you've been here for a long time, you can tell from the backgrounds of my videos that I love Superman. If you're brand new around here, that's fine too. Welcome to the channel. Basically, I wanted to create a series where I could talk about Superman for my own entertainment, but also I wanted an outlet to describe what exactly makes Superman so special as a character. So he can fly, so what? Yeah, exactly. This show isn't going to be only for fans of Superman, or for people who hate the character and want to see him get trashed on all the time. This show is going to be for everyone. We're going to do some learning, we're going to celebrate some amazing and inspirational moments, and sometimes, sure, we're going to bury certain things that, well, sucked. We'll dive deep into discussions about the many movies based on the character. We're going to play several of his video games, run down his greatest stories ever told, but most importantly, we're going to get to the heart of who and what Superman really is and why people care about him. On this first episode of Superman for Everyone, I figured my love for the character would be a great place to start. You guys have asked me to tell this story for a long time, and I always said when the time was right, I would do so. Well, the time seems pretty right just about now, doesn't it? Let's go. It all started literally on the day I was born. I'm just kidding. This is not going to be an hour-long browbeating, don't worry. I'll keep it relatively brief. Truth be told, I wasn't always drawn to Superman at all. I grew up much more of a Batman kid. When I was really young, we're talking early 90s, my favorite movie was The Nightmare Before Christmas. My favorite superhero was Batman. And a little bit later on down the road, my favorite wrestler was Sting. I loved The Lion King and Superman and guys like DDP just fine, don't get me wrong, but there was always something about the darkness that spoke to me. Hakuna Matata was great, but nothing drilled into my 4-year-old heart like Jack's lament atop that spiraled hill in the cemetery. Superman saving Lois Lane was good for a few minutes of entertainment, but it was Batman's tragic failures that really hit home for me. I don't know why. Diamond Dallas Page cracking his opponent with a diamond cutter and spazzing out got me out of my seat, but it was Sting's silence. It was the mystery of him watching from the rafters that kept me enthralled every week on Monday Nitro. If I'm putting it under a microscope and trying to analyze it all, the darkness seems to be the common thread. Sadness, tragedy, mystery, revenge. Why did a little kid latch on to these themes? Hell if I know, man. I always just felt like that was my comfort zone. That was home for me. I was always a happy kid. I always played outside with my friends. I had a million friends. I was super fortunate in that I grew up on a block that was overflowing with kids my age. So it's not like I was cooped up in the house all day just watching sad stories over and over and plotting some sort of evil plan. Not a chance. I just identified with tragedy, and I feel like I'm realizing as I'm writing this why that might have been. Some people are extremely lucky, you know? They're lucky that they've never experienced a real loss. By the time I was a teenager, I had been through the deaths of all of my grandparents. When I was 17, my parents, who had been at each other's throats literally every day for the better part of my life, finally got divorced. And I could point at that as being a major problem, like, oh, I don't have two parents at home anymore, but honestly, they'd both been so distracted with their disdain for each other that they weren't really paying too close attention to what I was doing. I was a horrible student in high school. We'd moved away from the neighborhood where I'd grown up, so I was completely alone in what is probably the most vulnerable era of a teenager's life. Fast forward a few years, and now I had gone through the deaths of literally all of my aunts and uncles. I was in a really, really dark headspace. The tragedies and darkness, the sorrowful soliloquies I'd always been drawn to in fiction, now just felt like they were being compounded on top of all the darkness and tragedy in my real life. It was fun to come in from playing cops and robbers as a kid and turn on Batman Mask of the Phantasm with its dreary color palette, because those two things were on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. It's just not the same when you come home from the 7th or 8th funeral for a family member and then watch Bruce Wayne cry in an alleyway over the corpses of his parents. You know what I mean? I do realize that this is an extremely personal story, and this may not have been what you were expecting, but this is real life, man. These kinds of stories are what it's all about. By the time I'd reached my early 20s, I was just not me anymore. I think I had suffered all the heartbreak and negativity that I could handle, so I took myself out of the equation. If I didn't get involved in anything, nothing could go wrong, right? I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. So I didn't. I withdrew from all of my friends. I no-showed parties and get-togethers. I just stayed to myself. I grew my beard out really long. I started wearing hoods up indoors. I started dressing like a maniac because I didn't want anyone to bother me. I didn't want anybody to talk to me. And I was there for like 3 years, man. 3 years. Maybe you're identifying with this part of the story. Maybe you're in that spot right now as we speak. Here's what I did to get out of it. I just decided I was over it. Honestly, I decided it was time for a change. I needed to get myself back. I needed to find myself again. I made the decision to stop doing nothing. I got really into color. That's a weird thing to say, but seriously, I've always worn all black. My bedroom was painted black. It was black 24/7. So I started putting rainbows in my videos and paintings and whatnot. You can still see the rainbow every week in the channel logo. I started wearing silly colors and outfits to wrestling shows or whenever we would go out at night, just to make myself and my friends laugh. I went out of my way to start socializing again. I met a girl who shortly thereafter invited me to a party. And rather than Scott hauling that deal and not showing up, I put on my boots, I got in my car, and I went out. And I've been with that girl for going on 5 years now. Not everything I did was an incredible epiphany. Don't give me too much credit. I did bleach and dye my hair at home with zero experience on how to do so and burned the hell out of my scalp and really messed up my hair, but I was feeling pretty good about it at the time, and that's what counted. In this period of rediscovering who the hell I was and rewiring my brain away from the darkness I'd allow myself to call home for the last 3 years, I started taking advice from some of my creative influences. I think it was probably a mixture of Greg Miller talking about his favorite Superman stories on an episode of one of his shows, and Max Landis' super silly but extremely entertaining retelling of the death and return of Superman. That's what initially caught my attention and made me really want to actually read some of Superman's stories for the first time. So I did. I read All-Star Superman, written by Grant Morrison. I read Superman Last Son by Jeff Johns. And you know what I found in those stories? I found what I'd been missing. I found color. I found inspiration. I found guidance. I found honesty. I found doing the right thing not because it's what you're forced to do, because it's the right thing to do. I found that while the world isn't perfect and we're 100% going to face adversity in the shape of loss or tragedy or hardship, there's always a lesson that comes along with those things. I learned that there's an opportunity through loss to become more than what you were before. With every new story I read, I learned more about who I am and what I could be. This might be the corniest, cheesiest thing you've ever heard, but I would go out of my way to wear a Superman shirt on days that I thought might be difficult. Why? Because if I was going to wear that symbol on my chest, I had to live up to what it means. This is why I love Superman. This is why this symbol is so important to me. When I was low, when I didn't know who the hell I was and was making an effort to find myself again, Superman was there for me. Superman was leading by example, and he taught me that I can lead by example too. There you have it, Dan Dans. That is what makes Superman so important to me. Now, that may not have been what you were expecting, but that's the truth of the matter. And if you found yourself identifying with any part of the story, or maybe you're at one of your low points right now, let me just tell you, we all go through those low points. We all go through high points and low points. And if you find yourself down and out right now, let me tell you something, it's going to get better. It got low for me, and it got better for me. And I'm no one special. I'm the same as you. We're all the same. Listen, guys, I hope my story resonated with you. Maybe you learned a little something about yourself. Maybe you learned a little something about me. You damn sure learned something about Superman. And this is only the beginning. We have so much more to cover on this series. I'll see you guys next time for another installment of Superman for Everyone. Until then, I love you.